Alright guys, welcome to a vlog episode. I think this is a vlog episode. I'm always hesitant to call these vlogs, but I think I'm gonna start calling them vlogs. This will be episode 1, season 1. I know I've kind of vlogged before, but let's just call this season 1. A couple little life updates. My back is feeling much better. It was just a muscle issue. Some people were worried that it's a kidney thing. Just muscles. We're all good. Cottage season is open. We were at the cottage on the weekend. We got the dock in, and people probably think we're a little bit crazy because as soon as the ice melts, we're swimming, and people are kind of like driving by on their boats, and they're kind of like, what the heck are these guys doing? But I love it. Also got some trips scheduled. Going to Iceland with my editor Matt and my brother. We're gonna go there beginning of June, and then I'm gonna go to Finland in July with my family, so that should be a good time. I feel like I should do like a meetup in Finland. It's my homeland. I feel like we should do a meetup. And because my back is feeling better, I've gotten back into working out, and now it's time to gain back some of those calories from this morning's workout. No! Closed. Dang it, they make the best pastry. It's called a cruffin. I think it's like a croissant and a muffin mixed into one. Cinnamon, oh, it's so good. Dang, I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow. All right, let's continue. Why is it always when you're really craving something, you can't have it? Anyways, over the weekend, I was really thinking about my channel and kind of thinking about what's the point of my channel? What's the point of these videos that I make? And I think what I came to is that it's to kind of just put you in a decent mood, put you in a better mood than you started off watching this video. I mean, yeah, I'm educating and teaching people to be a filmmaker, to do the things that I'm doing, and hopefully that helps. That's really important too. But in the end, I think a little bit bigger than that, a little bit higher level, I think I'm here to just put you guys in a good mood, to inspire you if you're feeling uninspired, if you're feeling bummed out, maybe you feel a little bit happier. If you're thinking about quitting, maybe this will push you to keep going. I don't know. I think it's pretty important to stop and think about why you're doing things or why things exist, or else you kind of lose your way really quickly. The why kind of keeps you grounded, I think. And speaking about why things exist, let's talk about Game of Thrones, specifically the finale. If you haven't seen the finale yet, well, I recommend that you pause this video and go and watch it. If you haven't watched the series at all, well then I highly recommend that you pause this video and go and watch it. It might take you a little while, but come back and watch this video after you've watched the whole series. And especially as a filmmaker, you really should be watching these top tier shows and movies just to learn from them. Okay, if you're offended by some of the violence and the sex scenes, skip those, use the old hand cover. But I highly recommend that you watch it for the storytelling, for the cinematography, for the amazing characters. It's just a really, really great show. Also, before I forget, I want to know what you guys thought of the finale and the whole final season. Yeah, I want to know what you guys thought of it. But just like with my own channel, thinking about why my channel exists and why I make these videos, I think we have to kind of step back first and think about, why does Game of Thrones exist? We just got philosophical on this channel. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but I don't think it exists to kind of fulfill your life or fulfill your dreams or deliver the things that you want right now. I think a show like Game of Thrones, pretty much like every other TV show and movie, exists to entertain us. In the end, Game of Thrones is about entertaining people through amazing storytelling, the cinematography, and all of the really interesting characters that they've developed through the seasons. Okay, so I haven't been there when the Game of Thrones creators have been thinking about Game of Thrones and all that stuff, but I assume that's what it's for. That's pretty much what all of TV, you know, it can be educational or it can be political or social, but in the end, it's there to entertain us. And I think this is something that we really need to keep in mind when we're thinking about Game of Thrones, and especially this last season, which has been a little bit controversial, I think. But I am getting really hungry, so let's get some food. Matt! You wanna go for lunch?
Oh, I actually brought my lunch. Just gotta...
Okay, I'm gonna go for lunch by myself then. Wait, I'm an idiot. I almost forgot. My wife made me a lunch. She would have killed me if I bought a lunch and didn't eat this one. Thanks, love you, appreciate the lunch. It's funny because I begged her this morning to make me a tuna sandwich. Ooh, she made me a salad too. Tuna sandwich. Okay, I'll get back to the video. I'm just gonna eat the sandwich real quick. Real hungry. Done. Okay, so Game of Thrones, the final season, season 8, has been really interesting to watch, especially because the audience has been so divided on it. It's the worst season in terms of reviews. It's gotten terrible reviews. And also, the audience hasn't been too happy, to the point where there's a petition where people want the whole season, the whole final season to be remade because they're so unhappy with it. Some of the most pivotal episodes in this final season have been the worst reviewed, including the finale. But actually, I've kind of enjoyed this last season. It's a really hard season to make because the show is just so epic. There's so much buildup, there's so much that people are just expecting out of it that you're almost always gonna fail in this kind of situation. There's so many characters and so many storylines, and it's really hard to kind of make everyone satisfied when it is the end. There's no more after this. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of prequel or sequel or spin-off or something, but this is it. This is the finale. And remember, it's not really the point of Game of Thrones to satisfy or fulfill people. It's to entertain people. And it has been one of the most entertaining shows ever. It's so engaging. It's been just an incredible ride. It's a massive success. The storytelling, the cinematography, the character development, all of that, a massive success. It is kind of a gold standard nowadays for TV shows. Everybody wants to make a Game of Thrones. And then comes the finale, the final episode, and people are really, really divided. I even did a little Twitter poll to see kind of what people were feeling on it. And yeah, and you can see people were pretty divided. It's about 50-50, a little bit more on the disappointment side, but there are a lot of people who liked it also. But it's interesting to see how many people just weren't satisfied at all. And honestly, for me, I was pretty satisfied watching the finale. Surprisingly, very surprisingly, I went into it thinking there's no way they can kind of tie up all the loose ends and finish up the character stories in a way where I'm gonna be satisfied. And I didn't see much, if any of it really happening. Okay, this is where the real spoilers are gonna start happening. So yeah, if you don't wanna know, Matt, put up a little timer, skip to this time. I definitely called the whole Mad Queen thing early on. I thought that that's what's gonna have to happen. She is gonna become the real villain, and then they're all gonna have to battle against her, because Cersei she just wasn't really that good of a villain. She kind of sucked at being a villain. So I didn't think that could be the final. And so the part that kind of surprised me was that Jon Snow killed Daenerys. I did not expect that at all. But I guess it kind of makes sense in his character development and the evolution of Jon Snow. He finally realizes that doing the right thing isn't necessarily the most clear or easy thing, or it doesn't necessarily feel like the right thing at the time. Or maybe there is no right thing, like Ned Stark would have always had, that this is the right way to do things. So it was an interesting evolution of his character. And then another big thing that I think needed to be resolved is the whole Bran situation. Why did Bran go through this whole thing? And it just didn't really make sense. He wasn't even shown in the previous episode. And I think I was pretty satisfied. He becomes the king. It's super surprising. I don't think anybody really expected that, but it kind of makes sense. He doesn't want it, but he is this kind of all-seeing being thing, the three-eyed raven, and he becomes the king. And then it's really interesting. I did not expect this out of Game of Thrones. I honestly thought a lot of people were gonna get slaughtered in the last episode, but they kind of gave all of the good characters the ending that they needed. Jon Snow, yeah, he gets punished and sent to the wall, but then he ends up living with the free folk, and I think that's probably the way it should have been. He should have been with the free folk up north, away from all the politics and craziness of Westeros, just kind of chilling by himself. Arya goes off and fulfills her dream of seeing what's west of Westeros. Sansa gets to be a queen. That was really interesting that she still kind of got to be a queen. Tyrion becomes the Hand again, which is again I think something that he needed. Brienne, Bronn, Davos, Samwell, they all kind of got what they wanted in the end. Even Grey Worm gets kind of half of what he wanted. I'm sure he would have liked Missandei there, but literally everyone kind of gets a happy ending except for Daenerys, but she turns out to be a villain. So yeah, you know, that's the end. Can you imagine if Jon Snow and Dany would have gotten married and they would have just like lived happily ever after? I feel like that would have been just a little bit too Disney for Game of Thrones. So to me, it was kind of interesting that people were so pissed because I think it was really satisfying. Maybe people were expecting, like I was expecting, just more people to die and kind of more of a Game of Thrones ending where it's just like doom and gloom. But that's not what the writers gave us, and I'm pretty happy with that actually. But what I think it comes down to in the end is that people were wanting kind of their wishes to be fulfilled instead of just to be entertained, to just kind of let it happen. And that's kind of what I did, at least watching it. I knew there was no perfect ending, but this to me was a satisfying ending, or as satisfying as it could be. I think they did a good job. And as a creator, I know what it's like putting something out, something that you've made, putting it out there and having people give feedback on it. So I kind of feel for the creators. I feel for them because I honestly am so grateful for the insane show that they've created, for the hours of entertainment that they've provided me and millions of people around the world. I'm just really grateful to the writers, to the producers, to the directors, the DPs, all of the crew, all of the people that worked on Game of Thrones, and for putting in so much more than they needed to. They didn't need to make this insane show, but they did. And so I kind of just want to say thank you for that. Thank you to all of the people that worked on Game of Thrones. I really, really appreciate it. And I think a lot of people also appreciate it, even with the mixed reviews and the mixed, the mixed audience. Can you imagine getting all of that negative feedback? Nightmare. If you're wondering what all these cords are, this is kind of my charging station. I should figure out a better solution for this. So I guess the moral of this story is to figure out why you do the things you do and to just stick to that, because I'm really glad that the Game of Thrones writers and creators stuck to their guns and made an ending that they thought was right for the characters and not just what the people wanted. It's funny, I think having a kid makes you a little bit more philosophical and you start thinking about things a little bit more deeply, and I think that's why I'm thinking about this question of why am I doing my own channel and all that. You also start to realize that a lot of things that you thought were important maybe aren't as important as you once thought. For example, signing a petition to remake the whole season over.